How many books are you reading right now?
I am in a that's a great question to ask me right now because I'm in a very scattered reading epoch in my life. What I used to do is actually read one book start to finish. Right now I'm in this chaotic Naval Ravikant-esque style of reading where I'll only read something from a book that's interesting to me right now. So right now I'm reading the Bhagavad Gita for the first time in my life. I am reading
so what is that about?
So the Bhagavad Gita is a Sanskrit scripture, and I want to make sure I have this right because this is all very new to me. I'll just read you the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, the glory of Sanskrit literature, encompass the whole spiritual struggle of a human soul. So it's this dialogue between Krishna, who, and thank God I have a friend who told me that Krishna is not necessarily God, it is creation itself, the thing that God created. And apologies if I'm getting this wrong, but I think this might be right. It's a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Again, apologies if I get the pronunciation wrong. Arjuna and Krishna. So Arjuna is the struggle of the soul, and Arjuna is communing with the existence as such. It's very clear language, actually, probably more clear than my own explanation of it. So if you've ever read the Tao Te Ching and you didn't know what the hell it is you just read, because the Tao Te Ching is extremely poetic and I don't want to say esoteric, but it takes a few readings to actually understand what it means, and it matters to get the right translation. The Bhagavad Gita is very clear in what it's trying to tell you. And there were some passages from the Bhagavad Gita that I read multiple times over because the passages were so clear. And to summarize it, it would be to find peace within both gain and loss, pleasure and pain. So to find peace and pleasure means
say that again?
To find peace in pleasure and in pain. So to find peace in pleasure means to enjoy the pleasures for what they are, to not be consumed by them. This also ties into the distractions thing you and I like to talk about. To enjoy the pleasures, not to be taken by the pleasures, and to find peace in pain. So to find peace in sickness, to find peace in your own psychological limitations, the pain of existence. So I'm reading that. I am very, very slowly working my way through Symbols of Transformation by Carl Jung. This is just only the second book by Jung I've ever read, and can't say that I understand.
How many books did Jung put out?
So in the Bollingen series, the collected works, I think there's about 22 volumes, which are all massive. There are a few books that are recommended for the wider audience, which were the Red Book and Man and His Symbols. I haven't read any of those. I'm torturing myself by going straight into the dense stuff, not because I'm any wiser or smarter, just because I like torturing myself intellectually with these books.
Trying to find peace within your torture.
Yeah, so I'm reading that. And what else am I reading right now? Oh, I also read Nietzsche's autobiography, Ecce Homo. And there is this wonderful part in this book, which I really wanted to share with you, which I think is so cool, which is because you were asking me earlier, what have been my influences, both lately and all time. So there is this bit in his autobiography. It's from this chapter where he goes, and this also rhymes, which is why I like it, because it rhymes. You rarely read something that actually... How much
philosophers don't like to rhyme much.
You don't like to rhyme much. How much truth can a spirit bear? How much truth can a spirit dare? That became for me more and more the real measure of value. And this is the kicker. This is my favorite part, probably in this whole book. Error, belief in the ideal, is not blindness. Error is cowardice. Every acquisition, every step forward in knowledge is the result of courage, of severity towards oneself, of cleanliness with respect to oneself. The error is a lack of courage. What do you think of that?
What do you mean? The error is lack of courage? What do you mean? So like in life,
yes.
the error
is lack of
the
courage.
Error you make in life is not having courage.
Yes. Yes. Not necessarily blindness. So, why I think that's so great is because you could spend an entire lifetime, and Nietzsche also talks about environment. He he spoke a lot in this book about having the right environment, both I guess psychologically and also physically, to be confronted with the ideas that are going to move your soul to do something that's purposeful and meaningful to you and to other people. And so he said the worst times in his life came from when he wasn't in the right environment, breathing the right kind of air that would give him the ideas to write the books that he wrote. And so there's that. And I'm not sure how that relates to the idea of courage. I think that's a self-awareness thing. But with the courage thing is that it's really, you hear so many people talk about how just having the courage to do something, to start something that matters to you, to start a project that matters to you. We all have all of the information in the world at our fingertips with the internet now.
Yeah.
And the modern way of like modern people say this all the time. Like, what are you going to do to show up with it? You got to have courage to face that blank page, to take all this information that you're confronted with. And if you want to be a creator, if you want to be an entrepreneur, an artist, you have to have courage to share your ideas with people, with other people. Like, we're not blind anymore. We have all the information, and new information is coming out every second. If you want to do something phenomenal with your life, you got to have courage. The error is a lack of courage. And I would agree. I can look back at before, when I started doing my own projects, I had been reading self-help books and self-development books for years. And you could read all those books.
You can certainly read them. Yeah.
Yes, you can read the books, but they're not going to take the steps for you. No matter what it is you want to do in your life, you need to take those steps. And it's always going to sound cliche because it's true.